Hey guys, if your clients are wanting to brighten up for summer but also keep a low maintenance color, keep watching to see how we created this pretty blonde hair. Here's my client's before. You can see that her grow out is really soft, but we're still going to work on brightening her up today. So my client today we're normally doing like a blonde highlight and then we do like a shadow root and tone her. But today she wants to go a little bit extra bright and a little bit more rooty is kind of one of the pictures she showed me. So we're gonna just kind of baby light through her crown area and then keep her a lot brighter around her face. And then we're gonna go through it and do more like balayage to brighten up the ends of her hair. To start, I'm just going to go through and do my hairline foils that I normally do in all of my videos. I do about 3 to 4, sometimes just 2 really soft weaves on the hairline. This is going to help it blend really nicely, and as her hair grows out, she's going to have really soft grow out as if the sun just naturally lightened her hair. Oh, I want to tell you guys, sometimes foiling like this on the hairline versus doing horizontal foils where it kind of creates those stripes going back towards the head when they pull the hair back. Sometimes foiling vertically instead can make all the difference in a client. I have to let you know, I actually had somebody come to me literally just because she had gotten her hair done and the person had done her foiling like as if she was doing them horizontally up the side of like literally her whole hairline. And it was like a week later she ended up coming to me just because I do my hairline foils this way because she needed it to be fixed. And that was probably like a month ago or so. Actually, it's probably been like 2 months or whatever. But she's rebooking her appointment with me. She just hit me up on Instagram and she's like, I don't know if you remember me. You fixed my hairline foils, but I wanted to actually book a full foil with you for my next appointment. So sometimes these teeny little tricks or just, changing the way you foil just a little bit, like sometimes that can make the biggest difference in a client. And if somebody sees you foil that way versus walking out with razor stripes on the side of their head, like that could be the difference in having somebody want to switch up their stylist and start coming to you. Also, for her hairline, I normally do it a little bit softer, but because she wants to go brighter for summer or coming up summer, if it ever gets here, if you're in Washington State, you know what I mean. So I'm doing a little bit heavier of a weave, kind of almost a slice, but not quite. So we're doing it a little bit heavier up front so that way she's going to be nice and bright. And any of my weaves that I normally did were really soft. And just to make her a little bit brighter, I'm doing it a lot heavier. Going into her partial foil, I'm actually not going to do it as heavy of a weave as I did previous to this appointment. I know that she wants to be brighter, but our goal also is to have lower maintenance grow out. And so I'm going to go through and actually just break her base with a soft baby light. That way, as her roots grow out, it's going to be a lot softer. She can go a little bit more time in between, but we're still going to try and get her brighter through her ends and go through and do like a heavier balayage. So even though she is going to be brighter, she's still going to have lower maintenance. And I think this is a really great way for clients that want to go brighter, but they're still not willing to like commit to having to come in super often. This is a great way to just still brighten them up, but give them that low maintenance look because their roots are still going to be pretty natural and soft looking, but they're going to be super happy when they have it nice and brighter on the face and brighter through the ends, but they're also not going to have to commit to coming back in 6 weeks. Make sure you're being extra cautious of these brighter pieces in the front or throughout the foil because you don't want to cause any damage. So just be sure to pull those brighter pieces of blondes to the side. When I go through somebody's part area, I usually pack in a few more foils in that area, or I do smaller subsections. Have you ever foiled someone's hair and then they part their hair and you're like, oh crap, if you just part your hair over like half a centimeter over, you'd see more of the highlights. So obviously when they go home, they're just going to part their hair the same way that they normally do, and then they're not going to see as bright of the blonde as if they would part it just over. So I've started going through and just doing a little bit more foils just right around the foil line and doing smaller subsections. That way I can ensure that wherever they part their hair, it's going to have enough brightness in that area. Also, this is all I'm doing for her partial foil. I'm just going through on the other side now, and then once I'm finished with that, I'm going to pop a few in the back of the crown area, and that's all we're going to do to break her base. Okay, here we're gonna go through and I'm starting at the bottom area and I'm just taking some of my lightener. I think I refilled and went through and mixed some of the Schwarzkopf clay lightener, and I'm gonna go through and brighten her up and do like a heavier balayage. I've normally gone through and done like a few panels, but since we're really trying to go brighter today, I'm gonna do it a little bit heavier and a little bit more sections. So we're just gonna go through, balayage through her hair. That way she's gonna feel nice and bright through the ends. And she honestly is pretty bright already, but we're just gonna go through and try to work on getting her overall having a brighter look than what she's had. Another difference is I'm going up pretty high with her balayage and painting up higher towards her face, where before I would just keep it at like the midsection and below through her ends. So I'm definitely doing her balayage higher than I was doing before. I had somebody once ask me if when I go through and I do my balayage, if I surface paint or if I fully saturate. And honestly, it varies per client, but generally, like right now, I'm trying to surface paint and feather up through like the top of her hair. But as I get through the ends, I'm definitely trying to go through and saturate fully through the mids to the ends, because a lot of my clients want to be really bright and blonde. And so I feel like to get maximum brightness, I'm gonna have to fully saturate, but just to make sure I have a nice blend and a soft transition, that's where I feather up more towards the top of the balayage pieces. Okay, so here we are pulling out her foils, and I'm gonna wash her and pre-tone her with Fanola No Yellow shampoo, and then after that she's gonna sit with an Olaplex treatment on while I go mix her toner. So I'm gonna tone my client right now, and we normally tone her hair to be really ashy and cooler, but she wants to be a little bit more brighter for springtime coming up. So we're gonna tone her hair right now to be brighter than like more of a brighter, whiter blonde. If you guys are used to watching me tone my clients, then you know that this is generally what I use for all of my blondes, some variation of these like 3 or 4 together, and I always use rose gold. Any times that I'm like, I don't need to use my rose gold today, guaranteed it overtones, it's too violety, it's too ashy. So honestly, grab some gold, whatever it is that you use, just do like a little drop or whatever, and it honestly makes such a big difference. I generally let the toner sit for about 10 minutes. And then now I'm going to go through and we're going to do her root shadow, and this is what I'm mixing for her roots. I really like Paul Mitchell for doing a softer, more translucent root shadow. It's just going to really softly tone the hair down, really blend it really nicely. You're still going to see a lot of the highlights showing through, but if you want something that has a little bit more coverage, I highly recommend using the Schwarzkopf toners. Those are amazing. I am not kidding you. If you want it to really add a lot of depth, really help kick out any brass that might be there, I will say that I feel like some of the Paul Mitchell, I feel like it doesn't really kick out the brass enough if there's a lot of warmth in the hair. So if I do have a lot of warmth in the hair, I will usually go over to my Schwarzkopf because I feel like that tends to do a better job of getting rid of the brassiness and giving more of a darker root if that's the look that you're going for. I'm going through and applying diagonally, not that it matters, this was just the easiest way using a bottle. And I'm applying through the crown of her head. I'm staying away from her hairline and like her money piece area because I want to make sure that those stay nice and bright. So after I apply through the rest of her hair, and once that starts processing, then I'm going to go through and section her hairline and apply to her roots. But I'm honestly just going to tap it. I'm not going to like blend it down as far as I am like the rest of her hair. Okay, no, this isn't really related to the video, but I've seen a lot of people in like hair forums on Facebook saying if they're doing foiling and they have a bleeder, how do they fix that? If you ever come across that where you have really bad bleeding and a foil, just go through and do a root shadow and just tap the root a little bit. Don't drag it down, and guaranteed that should really help hide the bleeder mark, and your client honestly might even end up being happier having a root shadow where it's a little bit softer. But just go through, tap the roots a little bit, and that should help hide any lines if you end up having bleeders from foiling the hair. Pay attention to how careful I'm being when I go through around her hairline. I'm just taking the color, I'm very slightly like smudging it into the rest of her hair. I'm just really trying to softly blend it, but I don't want to drag it down hardly at all. And then when I get up to her money piece, I'm really just hardly applying anything at all to her roots. I'm really just softly tapping it at the base of her hairline. One thing that makes me cringe is when I watch videos of people doing hair and they apply like a really heavy amount to the hairline and then they comb it all the way through. Like that's just gonna darken it up. Try really hard not to do that if you can. Here's her final hair after we blow dried her hair. I wanted you to see how nicely it blends when it's kind of straight. Here's her before. You can see how much darker she is at the root. We definitely got her a lot brighter today. And here's the final look after we style her hair and give her a soft wave. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions, leave it in the comments below. I'll try to get back to you. And don't forget to like and subscribe.